Hello there guys, welcome to one of my videos. On this video I am going to be giving you my match reaction for the Chelsea-Manchester United game. It's just ended, Chelsea 3, Manchester United 1 in the FA Cup semi-final at Wembley. It's the first time we have lost to Chelsea under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era, and it is our first defeat in 19. By the way, this was our 30th FA Cup semi-final, and this was the first time Manchester United had met Chelsea in the FA Cup semi-finals for 24 years. Now, I thought it was a very, very poor performance by Manchester United. Definitely, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's team selection was questionable because, he had made 5 changes, and I actually, thought in this particular game, Solskjaer was very tactically naive. But I just thought, from start to finish, Chelsea totally dominated the game. They pressed high up the pitch. They created some very, very good chances. Alonso had a great chance in the first half. Zouma had a great chance in the first half. Reece James, he had a long-range effort in the first half. And Chelsea, were just totally dominant, very precise on the ball. I think, we made one touch in Chelsea's box in the first half. As you all know, Bailly came off with injury. Bailly, did collide heads with Zouma. And then moments after that, he collided heads with Harry Maguire. So Bailly, of course, came off with injury. And that's my element of concern about Eric Bailly, that he is very injury prone. Harry Maguire, had to have a bandage around his head. So, Eric Bailly came off with injury. So when he came off with injury, we changed formation, went with a 4-2-3-1 formation. But we actually, started with 3 at the back. Chelsea, did take the lead towards the end of the first half. It was a goal from Olivier Giroud. It was Azpilicueta that had got the assist. And it was a goalkeeping howler from David De Gea. David De Gea should have saved, 2 of the goals, that we did concede. He also should have saved Mason Mount's, goal as well. And, I believe now David De Gea will be getting heavily criticised. He's making far too many mistakes now, is David De Gea. And I think, now there's a lot of Manchester United fans saying, that David De Gea needs to be sold. This was David De Gea's 402nd appearance for the football club tonight. And, like I said to you before, David De Gea's had 7 good years out of the 9 years he's been at Manchester United, because in the last couple of years he's been a liability, reflecting on the calamitous mistakes he's made. He did quite well against Crystal Palace and that. But I think it's time Manchester United, need to sell him. Solskjaer's been talking a lot about David De Gea in recent weeks, saying that he's been the best goalkeeper in the world for the last 9 or 10 years or so. I can't understand why Solskjaer didn't go with Romero, because I actually thought he would have gone with Romero, because Romero, does play in our FA Cup games. That was David De Gea's first start in the FA Cup since the final back in 2018. When David De Gea leaves Manchester United, I think he'll go back to Spain anyway. But, he still is regarded as one of the best goalkeepers in the world, reflects on what he's achieved at the football club. And, he's won everything here domestically, and he's won individual awards, reflects on his good run of performances. But I think it's time for David De Gea now to leave the football club. We'll still get more than £17 million that were paid for him from Atletico Madrid back in 2011. But yeah, he will be heavily criticised. So yeah, Chelsea went 1-0 up with Olivier Giroud, and I thought Olivier Giroud had a really, really good game for Chelsea. His runs on and off the ball were very, very good. Like I said, the second goal came in the second half from Mason Mount. Definitely Brandon Williams was also accountable for that. He gave the ball away. And it was a lovely strike, to be fair, from Mason Mount. But again, David De Gea should be saving that. And of course, Chelsea's third goal was an own goal from Harry Maguire. Actually, I thought it was Rudiger's goal at the first, but actually, Alonso had got the assist. We did get a goal back. It came from the penalty spot. Martial had been fouled by Callum Hudson-Odoi, and Bruno Fernandes had converted the penalty. By the way, on my next video, I will be giving you my player ratings. But I actually thought De Gea, poor again. Maguire, very, very poor, made far too many mistakes. And I think, Maguire's done okay in some games this season, but he's also had some very, very bad games. I think he's had a lot of bad games since the resumption of the season. Lindelof, he was partly to blame, for the first goal. Lindelof as well, was making mistakes. I think Williams made quite a few mistakes. Bruno Fernandes, very, very quiet tonight. I don't think he got enough of the ball, did Bruno Fernandes. Couldn't really find any runners, Bruno Fernandes, when he did have that ball, couldn't really find that killer pass. I thought Marcus Rashford, couldn't get him on the ball enough. I think Rashford had a great opportunity in the second half that just went wide. Daniel James, I thought, he was very, very quiet in the game. It was Daniel James' first start for Man United, since the resumption of the season. Bissaka again, very, very quiet. We saw some substitutions come on in the game. We saw Odion Ighalo come on. Obviously, Paul Pogba came on. Odion Ighalo, Paul Pogba. Mason Greenwood also came on in the game. Like I said, Anthony Martial came on. So Solskjaer did bring some substitutions on. But people will say that Solskjaer should have started Romero in goal. Of course, we didn't start Lindelof, but obviously, he came on because Bay went off injured. Obviously, Brandon Williams, I had a feeling he was going to be starting this game. He'd recently, had a head injury at Brandon Williams. Obviously, Luke Shaw is unavailable. Fosu-Mensah also came on in the game. Don't forget, against Crystal Palace, he made his first appearance for Man United in just over 3 years. Over 3 years. People will say, that Mason Greenwood should have started the game. Of course, Mason Greenwood's been getting a lot of starts recently. And to be fair, in the last couple of games, Greenwood has looked a bit off the pace, but don't forget, he recently had an ankle injury, did Mason Greenwood. There was talk saying that Lingard could have also started the game, but he didn't. People will say that Anthony Martial should have also started the game because, Martial's done very, very well for us this season. Like I said to you before, I think Martial's had 2 good seasons out of the 5 years he's been at Manchester United. He's done well this season under Solskjaer, and I thought he did well in his debut season under the Louis van Gaal era. But, we just didn't turn up today, we couldn't really... We didn't cause Chelsea any real problems. We created very, very little. And I didn't expect that, I expected us, to put a good performance out, because we have been in a good vein of form. We have been in a good vein of form recently. Prior to this game, we was unbeaten in our last 19 games in all competitions. But, Chelsea now, look at a very, very strong side. Like I said, they have got a lot of good players in their team. Don't forget as well, tonight Chelsea were missing N'Golo Kante. There was also missing Billy Gilmour, and I think they also had a few other injuries. Like I said, regarding Chelsea, they've done very, very good recruitment so far. Obviously, they got Werner in quite a few weeks ago from RB Leipzig. They got Hakim Ziyech in February. So Chelsea so far have spent nearly 80 million pounds on 2 players, and Chelsea are looking to build on that. But Chelsea do progress to the FA Cup final. They will be playing Arsenal. But it's a shame, that we are out of the FA Cup because, the FA Cup was a priority for us. I did want us to win the FA Cup, because we have won the FA Cup 12 times. We haven't won the FA Cup since 2016, and that was back under the Louis van Gaal era. But it'll still be a good final, between Chelsea and Arsenal. So now, obviously, the Europa League is a priority. That's the only priority for us now of getting any silver on the board. That is, we want to win the Europa League because we want to get our first trophy under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. And obviously, if we win the Europa League as well, we will get automatic qualification for the Champions League. Obviously, the top 4 is a priority for us because we do want qualification for the Champions League for next season. We've got now 2 games remaining in the Premier League, and that is West Ham and Leicester. And Leicester did lose today, by the way, against Tottenham by 3-0. But we know if we win our 2 remaining games, we will finish in that top 4. And I'm still very convinced that we can win our 2 remaining games. But I thought, we would have beaten Chelsea, because like I said, we've had a very, very good record against them since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer came in. Like I said, we've beaten Chelsea 3 times this season. We're beating them earlier on in the season at Stamford Bridge 2-0. And actually, 9 of the 11 players tonight, they're the ones that started in the 2-0 win at Stamford Bridge. We're beating them earlier on in the season 2-1 in the Carabao Cup, and we're beating them 4-0 at the start of the season at Old Trafford. Also beating them in the Cup last season by 2-0. But to be fair, we did have a good cup run. The positive is that, we did get to the FA Cup semi-final. We're beating Wolves in the 3rd round replay by 1-0. We're beating Tranmere in the 4th round by 6-0. That's when our unbeaten run started. We're beating Derby in the 5th round 3-0. We're beating Norwich in the quarterfinals 2-1. So we did have a pretty good cup run, to be fair. But last season, we had a pretty decent cup run. But I expect, from tonight's result, Solskjaer, to get a lot of criticism on his team selection. That's definitely, questionable. But my perceptions haven't changed regarding Solskjaer. Like I said, Solskjaer still needs at least another season at Manchester United because, it is a transition period and it has been a transition period for a while. And like I've said, there's still areas where Manchester United are lacking. I think we need to recommend a striker in. We probably need to get an experienced striker in. We have got a Gallo, but he's going to be leaving, when his loan expires in January 2021. And I know Rashford and Martial have done well this season, but they are still young. Get what I mean? I think we need a right winner. I think we need to recommend a centre-half in, despite the fact that we have got 7 centre-halves in the team, because we're making far too many mistakes at the back. So there's still deficiencies in the squad that do need to be addressed. And there's a lot of aspects of our game that I've got to improve. Don't get me wrong, in that 19-game unbeaten run, I saw a lot of improvements, but there's still things we need to work on. I think, we need to keep the ball better. We need to be quicker on the flanks. We need to be, more clinical in front of goal. Of course, Solskjaer recently criticised our forwards for not being clinical enough in front of goal. So definitely, there's aspects of our game that really, really need to improve. That really, really do need to improve in that. But I think we need to make around 3 signings in the summer transfer window if we are to be up there next season with the likes of Manchester City and Liverpool, because I said our expectations next season will be to challenge for the Premier League title. Because, like I said, this has been the 7th season now we have failed to mount any kind of title challenge up. And we've got to spend money to compete with the likes of Manchester City and Liverpool. And don't forget, we haven't won the Premier League since 2013. So the last time we won it was in Alex Ferguson's last season. My perception though on Frank Lampard is, like I said on my preview, I think he's enjoyed a superb season for Chelsea. I really, really do. This has been his first full season as Chelsea manager. And he's learned quite a lot of stuff, during his time with Chelsea. He's gained that managerial experience now. Chelsea is the second club in his managerial career. Of course, before he was at Chelsea, he was at Derby. He began his managerial career with Derby last season, did Frank Lampard. Lampard knows Chelsea inside out, don't forget, because he endured 13 years as a player with Chelsea. But, Lampard will be just delighted to get one over Manchester United and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and that. But probably Chelsea are now starting to believe that Frank Lampard is the foreseeable future for them. Of course, Chelsea weren't good in their 2 previous games prior to this one, though. They only grinded a 1-0 result out against Norwich. They got beaten by Sheffield United 3-0. They scraped a 3-2 win against Crystal Palace. But I did say, in my preview, it was going to be a very, very difficult game. It was going to be a very, very difficult game. But I think, if Chelsea can get a few more players on the board, maybe, they could be up there challenging for the Premier League next season. I think the last time they won the Premier League was back in 2018 under Antonio Conte. But Chelsea, of course, now, will want to win the FA Cup. They did win some silverware last season. They won the Europa League under Maurizio Sarri, and that got them automatic qualification for the Champions League. Chelsea in that. But another reason why I thought we might have beaten Chelsea tonight is because our record against the top 6 sides this season has been very, very good. Don't forget we've taken 18 points against the top 6 sides this season. We've beaten City 3 times this season. We've beaten Chelsea 3 times this season. Solskjaer's beaten Tottenham twice as a manager. Drew with Liverpool earlier on in the season. And, we've beaten Leicester earlier on in the season by 1-0. So this is another reason why I thought we may have had a chance of beating them. Another chance of beating them and that. But all we'll have to do now is look forward to the Europa League. Like I said regarding the summer transfer window, there is a lot of uncertainty, because of the financial impacts of the coronavirus pandemic. Don't forget the coronavirus pandemic did cost the club around £28 million. I think our plans for next season and our pre-season plans and our transfer strategy are all up in the air due to the uncertainty of how the current season will finish. We have got a lot of players on our agenda. There's still quite a lot of young players on our agenda because Solskjaer revealed his transfer strategy earlier on in his managerial career, and he said, he wants to recruit young British talents to Manchester United. And 2 young players so far have turned down moves to the football club, and that was Erling Haaland. Like I said back in January, it was a shame that we didn't get Erling Haaland because he would have been an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer type signing. And also too, Jude Bellingham has turned down a move to Manchester United. Man United. But like I said, the summer transfer window is opening on the 27th of July, which isn't long now. So we've got to make signings in the summer transfer window. I've said, we've our recruitment's improved under Solskjaer, because so far Solskjaer's recommended 5 players into the football club and spent just over £200 million. And he got these 5 players in the 2 previous transfer windows because he didn't recommend anyone in his first transfer window. So our recruitment's definitely improved. Solskjaer has got big decisions to make in the summer transfer window as well of what players he's going to get rid of, because I still believe there is deadwood at the football club. I think, we're going to get rid of at least 6 players in the summer transfer window. I think, we're going to get rid of Delors because Delors not good enough to represent Man United. We'll be looking to get rid of Jesse Lingard, looking to get rid of Sanchez permanently. We'll be looking to get rid of Smalling, Rojo and Phil Jones. So if we can get rid of players in the summer transfer window, we will generate money. We have got rid of a lot of players though since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got recommended into the football club. So that's very, very good. Like I said, we're facing a dilemma regarding the contracts like I've mentioned before, because we have got around 8 players' contracts that are due to expire next year. And we've got to make a decision on these 8 players. I've got to make a decision on these 8 players. But a lot of players' contracts have been extended since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got recommended into the club. Solskjaer's now been at Manchester United 18 months. So he's been at the football club a year and a half. But like I've said, he is still in the process of rebuilding this Manchester United team. Like I said, reflects on Solskjaer's been here now. He has gained managerial experience because, Man United is the 3rd club in his managerial career. It's been up and down in his tenure so far. Molde, Solskjaer did win a couple of Norwegian titles, didn't he? Don't forget. At Cardiff, his record was disastrous. The main explanation Solskjaer got sacked from Cardiff is because he ended up getting Cardiff relegated. But I still don't know if Solskjaer is the foreseeable future for Manchester United. Now, if things don't work out next season, that's when I would definitely get rid of him. Earlier on in the season anyway, I thought Solskjaer was going to get sacked as Man United manager because we endured our worst start to a Premier League season for 30 years earlier on in the season. And, at that point, there was talks of Mauricio Pochettino coming in, and there was also talks of Massimiliano Allegri coming in and all of that. But like I said, I think you'll have a lot of United fans, criticising Solskjaer. But I give you the main explanations why he didn't get sacked as Man United manager earlier on in the season. Is because of the signing of Bruno Fernandes. Like I said, Bruno Fernandes has made the difference in the team. Got his name on the score sheet tonight. I think that's now his 9th goal for Man United since his arrival from Lisbon in January. Has been a bit off the pace though in the last 3 games, to be fair, Bruno Fernandes. I think, with Solskjaer being a club legend, that also plays a part in it as well, because Solskjaer was a great player for the football club for 11 years. He flourished under Alex Ferguson's guidance and that. But like I said, I just don't think we'll ever be the team that was under Ferguson. I don't think anyone will last as long as Ferguson did, and no one will replicate Ferguson's legacy. We won a total of 38 major honours under Ferguson, including 13 Premier League titles. And in all, I think we've won around 45 trophies. 45, is it 45 or 46 trophies and that? But, we have lacked silverware in the last 7 years. We've only won 3 trophies since Ferguson left, and that was the FA Cup under Van Gaal and the Europa League and the League Cup under Jose Mourinho. So we've gone over 3 years now without winning the trophy. And that's the first time Manchester United have done that since the 1990s. But like I said, there's been a lot of problems at the football club for the last 7 years. There's been a lot of problems with the club's board. There's been a lot of problems with Ed Woodward. There's also been a lot of problems with the Glazers and all of that. Problems with the management. We've been criticised in, recent years for overpaying for players. We've been criticised, of how poor our recruitment policy's been, etc., etc. But people will say, reflect on the money that Man United have spent, we should be, where Liverpool are, or minimum, where Manchester City are and that. But like I said, the vast majority of these players are not Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's. Let's put that into the equation. Solskjaer's inheriting players from the Jose Mourinho era. The still players from the Van Gaal era he's inheriting. Still matter from the David Moyes era. And there's still a few players here from the Alex Ferguson era. The vast majority of this team is Jose Mourinho. So, like I said, Solskjaer's inheriting the vast majority of his players and all of that. But revert back to what I said. Their success came under Alex Ferguson and that. Ferguson didn't win out in his first 4 years at the football club. And good job he didn't get sacked after that 4 years, or wouldn't have hardly had any success. And we was even inconsistent before Ferguson, wasn't good under Ron Atkinson. He wasn't good under Frank O'Farrell. We actually got relegated under Frank O'Farrell back in 1974. We weren't good under Wilf McGuinness. Wilf McGuinness endured 18 months at Man United. Only managed to recruit 1 player in that. But yeah, so, probably Solskjaer does deserve to be criticised, from his team selection tonight. But not all of the blame, stems from him. Obviously, prior to the game, Solskjaer did say that our rivals are trying to create a narrative on VAR. Obviously, because Frank Lampard was saying prior to the game that VAR favours Man United, because I think we've had 7 goals disallowed against us, this season. We've obviously, now been awarded 14 penalties this season. I think that's actually, a record in the Premier League and that. But Solskjaer, like I said, hit back at Frank Lampard, and he also hit back at Jose Mourinho. Solskjaer's been talking a lot about Lingard recently. He was asked, does he think Lingard's got a long future at Man United? And Solskjaer said, Lingard's been part of the club for several years. And, he has worked really, really hard. And all of that. And he said, he values Lingard. Lingard has been at the club for several years, but Lingard doesn't even get in the team now anyway. And I was surprised he didn't start the game, Lingard, because, like I said, he's got a good reputation at Wembley. And I think he's scored in quite a few of our finals as Jesse Lingard. But I think he's one of the players that we're going to sell in the summer transfer window. He's been, like I said, Solskjaer's been talking a lot about Martial and Rashford recently. You know, they've played together for so many years, you know, because Rashford's been a United player since the age of 7 and he's been now senior squad since 2016. And like I said, this has been Martial's now 5th season at the club. They've more or less been challenging for the same position of Anthony Martial and Marcus Rashford, like I also mentioned. But you know, we've got a few injuries. Like I said, we've got Tuanzebe and Jones out, but they don't really get in the team anyway. You know, Shaw's out. I actually don't know how long Luke Shaw's going to be out for. Also, too, you know, Bay's now out with a head injury. I don't even know how severe Bay's head injury is. I know he'd got taken to the hospital and that. People will say sell Eric Bay because obviously, you know, he is injury prone, you know. But I'm just hopeful that we can sign Jadon Sancho in the summer transfer window. We need to get him on the board because he will dramatically improve the team. And it's also beneficial as well because Jadon Sancho has got a very, very good friendship with Marcus Rashford. And he's predominantly a right winger, and Man United are in search for the right winner. Neil Custis from The Sun recently said that Man United are close to agreeing a deal for Jadon Sancho for around £100 million. But I don't think a fee has yet come to an agreement. Borussia Dortmund have already confirmed that they won't let Sancho go on a cut price deal. Borussia Dortmund did recently say that they was expecting a £109 million bid from Man United, but we've said several times we are not willing to smash our transfer record for Jadon Sancho. It recently said that we was only willing to pay £50 million for the player. We was only willing to pay £50 million for the player. But Jadon Sancho did say he doesn't know where his future lies. You know, Borussia Dortmund are now looking for a replacement for Sancho because they've come to accept the fact that he does want to leave. There were stories coming out quite a few weeks ago saying that Sancho had agreed personal terms with Man United, and it said, you know, he had agreed a 5-year contract at the football club worth around £140,000 a week. So I want Jadon Sancho on the board. I'd also take Jack Grealish at Manchester United. But them two players are probably going to cost us around £150–160 million. You know, I think we want to sell players, to fund the move for Jadon Sancho and that. Like I said, we have got a pretty good squad. I think the squad's good enough for the top 4 finish, and it's probably good enough to win the Europa League. But as it stands at the moment, not good enough to win the league, and not good enough, to challenge for the league and that. And when Solskjaer got appointed in, he did say everybody would get their chances to express themselves, including the young players. And to be fair, more or less everybody's been given their chances. And I've got to credit Solskjaer because this season he has promoted the youth very, very well. But there's some players that have found game time difficult under Solskjaer. You've had Delors, found game time difficult under Solskjaer. Angel Gomez left a couple of weeks ago. He left because he was not getting any opportunities. Tahith Chon, he's found game time very, very hard. James Garner, he's been finding game time very, very difficult and that. But we have got a lot of young players in the squad. And there's also, young players now that are coming through our academy and that, and probably are the foreseeable future for Manchester United and all of that. But yeah, so that's your match reaction for the Chelsea-Man United game. Well beaten tonight. Didn't really create anything, like I said. Far too many mistakes at the back from Maguire and Lindelof. Didn't help Bay going off injured. Williams made a bad mistake for Mason Mount's second goal. Be interesting to see, what people do say on the fan cams. So anyway, guys, that's everything to update today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.